All right, let's jump right in. We are about to crack a code that will absolutely lock in 4 guaranteed marks on your NEET exam. Seriously.
Ugh, yes, this is totally me. I see a question about plant families and my brain just freezes. Which one has which fruit again? What was that inflorescence? It feels like such a simple way to lose marks.
It is, but that stops today.
Okay, so here's the secret.
And you know what's wild? The entire code is built on just 3 things. The family name, the inflorescence, and the fruit. That's it. You just need to master this pattern for 3 families, and you've literally just banked those marks. Let's start cracking.
Okay, our first case, the Asteraceae family. You probably know them as the sunflower family, and I call this one the head trap for a very, very good reason.
So here's your cheat sheet for family number 1, family Asteraceae, inflorescence head or capitulum, and the fruit Cypsela. Whoa, hold on. A sunflower, it looks like one giant flower. What do you even mean by a head inflorescence?
And there it is. That's the trap. What looks like one flower is just a brilliant illusion. It's actually a super dense cluster of hundreds of tiny little flowers or florets all packed together. One flower? No, many. You have to remember that.
Now I want you to look closely at this image. See those things that look like big yellow petals on the outside? Each one of those is an individual flower called a ray floret. And now look at the center, that dense, dark part. That is made of hundreds of tiny, tubular disc florets. This whole structure, that's the capitulum. So what happens to every single one of those tiny flowers? Well, each one develops into its own tiny dry fruit called a Cypsela. And you've seen these. You know those little white feathery things that fly off a dandelion? That's not a seed. That's the entire Cypsela fruit, using its little pappus to fly away.
Okay, let's get down to business. Here is your first major elimination trick. If a question mentions a head or capitulum inflorescence, it is Asteraceae.
Next up, Brassicaceae, the mustard family. So, cabbage, broccoli, radish. I'm pretty sure this one's in my lunch right now.
Exactly.
Family, Brassicaceae. Inflorescence is a raceme or sometimes a variation called a corymb, and the fruit is a Siliqua. We're going to start with that inflorescence.
So most of the time, what you're going to see is a raceme. The memory hook for this is simple. Just picture soldiers in a straight line. The flowers are all neatly arranged, one above the other, along a single stem. It's really simple and organized.
Soldiers in a line. Okay, that makes sense. But what if the question describes something that looks like a flat-topped cluster? I'd freak out and think it's a head. Is it something else? This is exactly the kind of thing that throws me off. What do you do when the soldiers aren't in a neat line?
Do not panic. That's the key. If it looks flat-topped, kind of like a carpet of flowers, that's just a corymb. It's just a type of raceme where the lower flower stalks grew longer to catch up. But here's what you need to know. It is still Brassicaceae. Just remember, corymb equals carpet. It is not a head.
Okay, now for the fruit. And this is the absolute clincher. I want you to focus on the pod in this diagram. The fruit is a Siliqua, but look inside. It has this very distinct, thin partition wall running right down the middle. This wall is called a septum. That false partition is your absolute confirmation. You see Siliqua, or a fruit with a septum, you know it's Brassicaceae.
And now we're heading into the unpredictable zone. Our final family, Solanaceae. I call this one the double agent because it plays both sides. It gives us awesome things like potatoes and tomatoes, but also some of the most poisonous plants on the planet.
But first, let's use the inflorescence for another powerful elimination trick. Solanaceae has solitary flowers or a cyme. So what is it? Never. It is never a head, we know that's Asteraceae, and it is never a raceme, we know that's Brassicaceae. Just by knowing that, you can immediately knock out wrong answers.
Okay, the inflorescence part I get, but then I look at the fruit and wait a second, the options are both juicy and dry? I would totally start to doubt myself right here. Stop. Right there. That is the exact moment. This is where NEET traps you.
And this slide shows you the trap perfectly. Solanaceae is a double agent. It's the only major family on your syllabus that makes both juicy berries, like a tomato,
and dry capsules that split open, like you see in Datura. This family does both.
So here it is, your ultimate pattern recognition shortcut. If you see a question and it's describing a flower, often a purple one with 5 petals, and you look down at the fruit options and see both berry and capsule listed, your brain should immediately go Solanaceae. That is its signature move.
And just like that, the code is cracked. Asteraceae, Brassicaceae, Solanaceae. 3 families, 3 simple patterns. This was never about memorization. It's about recognition.